With 28 states, 8 union territories, 543 parliamentary constituencies, and nearly 970 million registered voters, India stands as the world's largest democratic system. And at the heart of democracy lies free and fair elections, a responsibility entrusted to the Election Commission of India, which has upheld the country's democratic values by successfully conducting 18 general parliamentary elections at regular intervals. Similarly, the responsibility of conducting state legislative assembly elections at the appropriate time falls under the purview of the Chief Electoral Officer. A new state, Jharkhand, came into existence in the year 2000 after being carved out of Bihar. Known for its rich mineral resources and vibrant cultural heritage, Jharkhand holds a distinct place in the country. Comprising 5 administrative divisions: Santhal Pargana, North Chota Nagpur, South Chota Nagpur, Kolhan and Palamu. Jharkhand includes 24 districts, 14 parliamentary constituencies, 81 assembly constituencies and over 25 million voters. It is one of the few states where both the Lok Sabha elections and the assembly elections were successfully conducted within a span of less than 6 months in 2024. However, motivating voters to exercise this franchise among remote rural regions, challenging geographical conditions, and a history of prolonged Naxalism and political instability is undoubtedly a daunting task.
Elections are a one-day event for the common voter, but it is a long process for the election management machinery. We start working almost a year and a half before the elections. Jharkhand was already a Naxal-affected area, and there had been disturbances in the elections earlier as well. This time, all of us, including police officers, SPNO, had taken a decision together that not even a single incident should take place. Similarly, we kept each and every point in mind for a detailed planning. IG, CRPF also worked with us. We were deployed in a far-off areas as well. We have an area in Garhwa called Buddha Pahad, where elections were not held for past few decades. We went there ourselves. We talked to the Jawans and everyone there. We talked to the BLOs there. We made a detailed plan of the ground situation. We were confident about each and every point. Along with that, we provided them whatever they needed. A peaceful election was held.
One of the biggest challenges for the Election Commission, committed to conducting free and fair elections, is increasing voter turnout. The apathy towards voting, especially among urban population and the youth, resulting in low participation, remains a serious concern. To address this issue, the Commission launched SWEEP in 2009 to create awareness and encourage voter participation.
So, what is SWEEP? SWEEP stands for Systematic Voters Education and Electoral Participation. It systematically educates voters and during elections ensures their 100% participation at polling stations, clearly in order to strengthen democracy. It was essential to educate the youth about democratic values. For this, we had to strengthen a key pillar of the Election Commission of India, the Electoral Literacy Club. There are 4 types of electoral literacy clubs. Future Voter ELC, Young Voter ELC, Voter Awareness Forum, and Chunav Pathshala. We engaged the youth across entire state in all the schools, higher secondary schools, high schools. We collaborated with their teachers, appointed them as a coordinator, and established Electoral Literacy Club there.
While efforts were made on a war footing, through sweep activities, several creative initiatives were also undertaken involving voters themselves in the voter awareness campaign.
Even before I joined here, our Deputy Election Officer Mr. Sanjay already took an initiative. We decided to launch a social media campaign. We ran a campaign titled Mummy Papa Vote Do. Lakhs of children from across Jharkhand wrote letters to their parents, urging them to exercise their right to vote. Our campaign ended up trending in top 10. There was a very popular Nagpuri song whose tune I found catchy. I wrote new lyrics to that tune. And we created a song called Vote De Chal. We also organized a small-scale art festival involving artists, art lovers, and the youth. This initial program was held at Audrey House and later took a grander form during the assembly elections. Since our state has 81 constituencies, we named the event Art 81 Festival. It was a unique festival in which 81 artists from across India who were highly skilled painters were invited. Each of them created a painting based on the theme of elections in their own signature style. We then turned those paintings into posters, which brought a fresh and creative element to the voter awareness. Today, when people glance at these paintings, they can't help but stop and look. They recognize it as a true artwork. Later, during the assembly elections, we also composed a song in Bhojpuri.
मौसम सुहावन सुंदर बुद्धवान हो ए भैया जी ए भाभी जी ए चाचा हो ए करे तारा हल हा जरूरत वोट देवे के मुहूर्त हो ऐसन मनोहर मंगल.
The most critical part of inclusive voting is the purification of the voter list, during which every household was verified through a double verification process. Our foot soldiers, the BLOs, were strengthened through intensive training.
The electoral roll serves as the backbone of the election process and has a major impact on voter turnout. Therefore, significant efforts were made to ensure the electoral roll was prepared in the best possible manner. From the field level to the district and state level functionaries, all received training. Special attention was given to ensuring that our master trainers who go on to train other functionaries receive high quality trainings.
We have our own structured training schedule to ensure that none of our statutory works violates any rules laid down by Election Commission of India. This includes training for the preparation of EVM, FLC, electoral roll preparation, nomination process, and poll day arrangements. The goal is to ensure that our field level officers do not make any mistakes in any part of the process.
In pre-election activities, it is important to raise voter awareness so that people are informed about both aspects. What facilities and mobile apps are there, what provisions the Election Commission has made, and this kind of specific awareness is important so that people understand the election process and ensure their participation by casting their vote.
Special attention was given to training, with physical sessions conducted for officers and personnel from all concerned departments. Additionally, training materials were made available in various formats, documents, presentations, and training videos. From door-to-door surveys, preparation of polling stations to special arrangements like postal ballots and home voting for essential services staff or personnel unable to vote on poll day. Training materials were prepared for all scenarios. Even voters were guided to use the Voter Helpline app for election-related information. Material management helped polling parties address issues related to documents and stationery, easing their workload. And with the announcement of election dates, the real test begins for all those preparations that have been underway for a year.
Whatever staff, polling personnel and volunteers we had engaged 1,20,000 volunteers in the elections this time. We had trained them on every point. We had prepared detailed audio-video training material, PPTs, prepared master trainers and trained them on every point.
Postal ballot was an important responsibility. Through the postal ballot, it was ensured that all our functionaries involved in the election process were not deprived of their election rights. This was properly ensured, and for the first time in Jharkhand, such a large number of postal ballots were cast, more than 1,80,000.
All our service voters are sent postal ballots from here. The ballot papers are sent through ETPBS, electronically transmitted postal ballot system.
The provision for home voting was meant for voters aged 85 and above, as well as for those voters whose disability percentage is more than 40%. These voters prefer to exercise their right to vote from their homes.
The vehicle management system, SUGAM, was implemented in the state to streamline election management processes, optimize resource allocation, increase transparency, and simplify administrative procedures during the election cycle. By adopting solutions like VMS, Jharkhand has set an example for other states.
You will also see the mobilization of administration in Jharkhand. This is the largest mobilization. Almost the entire machinery gets involved in it. If you see the election staff, polling officers, there are about 1,50,000 polling personnel, 1,20,000 volunteers and 80,000 security personnel. There is a place called Lakhaide, where election had never been held before, and due to security concerns, the polling booth had to be relocated. And this time, we conducted elections for the very first time. Polling staff were dropped at the booth via helicopters. Forces were deployed, and with the cooperation of police personnel and security forces, peaceful polling was achieved.
Jharkhand shares its border with 5 states. and the state boundary is quite sensitive. Whether it's related to narcotics, cash, or the illegal movement of liquor, special arrangements were made. Interstate border checkposts were established, as well as composite checkposts. These included not only the police but also other agencies such as civil administration, including magistrate, excise, GST, and forest departments. These were formed into combined checkposts and established as integrated checkposts. All of these were monitored online. CCTV cameras were installed at every location, and live feeds from all checkposts were being transmitted to the SP and DC offices. At the same time, a central control room was operational in Ranchi, from where we were continuously monitoring the situation. These checkposts were made fully functional and senior officers were appointed for their effective supervision. In addition to the interstate borders, we also set up integrated checkposts within the state. We identified several sensitive routes in districts and border areas. Alerts were received regarding narcotics and cash movement, as well as illegal liquor transport, and actions were taken accordingly. To control such activities, we established integrated checkposts even within the state. As a result of these multiple efforts, we were able to make a significant number of seizures. We were successful in conducting an endorsement-free election.
There was a media certification monitoring committee. The campaigns conducted by different political parties at various media levels must abide by the Model Code of Conduct. For this, certification is issued at the state level. The basic spirit of the election is that only those who abide by the Model Code of Conduct and its norms will have their releases permitted. Once permitted, they can use these campaigns on digital platforms.
All necessary basic facilities should be available at the booths where voting is to take place. There should be a ramp, electricity, water arrangement, shed, and adequate building space. These are provided at the booths.
Due to spatial training in time management, the process was streamlined to enable 2 voters per minute to cast their vote, reducing long queues.
On the voting day, the voting process is conducted properly at the location. For this purpose, CCTV cameras are installed at all polling stations, and monitoring is also done at the headquarter level from here.
The amount of EVM replacement that occurred during the mock poll and during the actual poll is reported. This reporting is done and collected from the districts through ARUs or the designated election officials, and it must be sent to the Election Commission of India on time.
Along with this, the highest voting percentage in the entire history of Jharkhand was recorded in the assembly elections. There was not even a single incident in this, not a single repoll, not even in a single booth, not even a small lathi charge took place. There was no complaints at all. To conduct a transparent election, we monitored all the booths in entire Jharkhand through webcasting cameras.
It is always the mandate of the Election Commission of India that more and more voters participate in the election. Under this, we conduct various voter awareness activities in the field. In this, the IT mechanism plays a very important role. This time too, platforms like Facebook, Instagram, X and other social media platforms were used. RJs, radio jockeys were also involved so that the crucial information such as when and where you have to go for polling, at what time and how can you check your name. These different queries in the minds of voters could be addressed effectively.
On the day of counting, the preparation of the counting centers and strong rooms that are set up should be done in accordance with the guidelines of the Election Commission.
Jharkhand state and its department always remain in the top 5 in India in terms of social media campaign. For the last 4 months, we have been in the top position.
If you look at the election, you will see the administrative machinery functioning at its best. If you want to see that, the election process is a task through which we can observe it. There are many such case studies.
We already know that the voting percentage in Jharkhand is below the national average. Due to the high migration, there is a problem in increasing the voting percentage. We mobilized all the way and created voter awareness. In the Lok Sabha elections, we were able to bring the voting percentage above the national average. In the assembly election, we brought the highest votes in the history of Jharkhand. Even in the coming times, we still feel that the voting percentage is not sufficient. Some of the voters who got out of the state should also come to the booth on the polling day and exercise their right to vote. Still, we had the highest voting percentage in the assembly election.
Through relentless efforts and mutual cooperation, overcoming every major challenge, this grand festival of democracy in Jharkhand concluded peacefully, transparently, and successfully, marking the highest voter turnout in the state's history.
And now the recognition to the state of Jharkhand. Receiving the award, ladies and gentlemen, we have Shri K. Ravi Kumar, CEO Jharkhand, recognized for conducting indecent and free elections, achieving high voter turnout in the general elections to the Legislative Assembly of Jharkhand 2024.